Hello, Intro to Theater students. It's time for our second list, theater roles. Now, normally what we'd be doing is we'd be going through these important jobs and talking about which ones we'd be interested in doing for our fall play. Obviously, since we're not in the theater, it's kind of impossible to do that, but it's still important that you know all these theater roles so that you can know what kind of things you can do in the theater for the future. So let's go ahead and get right to it. First on the list is A2, or audio assistant, the person responsible for the upkeep and use of microphones and audio systems. This person makes sure that all the microphones are put away and taken out properly, all of the actors are making good use of their microphones, not damaging them, and that they have the right ones so that nobody has the cues mixed up later on. Box office manager, the person responsible for selling tickets and handling many financial aspects. This person usually stays in the box office, out in the foyer, and makes sure that all of the money is handled properly. The call boy or call girl is a stagehand who alerts actors of their entrances in time for them to appear on stage. They're the person who'd be shouting half hour or 5 minutes or telling one specific actor, "You're on in 1." That's the call boy or call girl's job. Choreographer is the person responsible for designing dances and rhythmic movements on stage. You guys know what a choreographer is. It's pretty simple. You can have 3 different terms for a group of singers and dancers. You can call them the chorus, or you can call them the company, or you can call them the ensemble. Any of those is correct. The costume designer is the person responsible for designing and taking care of costumes and jewelry. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Anything that you're wearing is the costume designer's job. The director is the person responsible for all components of the production, making sure everything comes together correctly. The dramaturg is a literary advisor who researches, selects, adapts, edits, and interprets scripts and texts. So the dramaturg's job in most professional productions, like at college level or above, is the one who selects what scripts they're going to be using for the production. They're the one who goes through it and edits it so that it's appropriate. So the audience so you have the correct audience for the script, making sure that you have the cast for it before you decide to select that script. And in some productions, the dramaturg also has their own little performance at the end of one of the shows where they get to sit down with the audience and answer questions about the show. And the audience can ask whatever they want to about the show, and the dramaturg should know. The dresser is the person responsible for helping performers to get in and out of their costumes during the show. Again, they're not the ones who are picking the costumes themselves, but they're the persons who's helping with quick changes and getting into their costumes in the first place. The fight director is the person responsible for ensuring all on-stage fights are safe and visually interesting. So, for instance, last year I had to act as the fight director for the last scene of Murder by the Book, because at the end, the 2 main characters get into a fight and one of them starts to strangle the other. I had to make sure that we were blocking everything correctly so that when she was being fake strangled, it looked real, and that nobody had any chance of getting hurt. So that's the fight director's job. The fly crew. Now you guys learned about the flies last week. So the fly crew is the crew member who brings the battens in and out and maintains the fly system. The battens would be those big curtains that are on the stage itself, the black ones. Those are the battens. The house manager is the person responsible for anything to do with the audience. So once the audience gets into the auditorium, the house manager takes over, and they're the ones who make sure that everyone stays happy. Okay? After the house manager, we have the light operator, the crew member who works on the light board or spotlight. So that can be the person who's working on the board for the lights, or the person who's over on the spotlight next to them. So that can be several different people. The makeup artist is the artist who applies and maintains makeup, prosthetics, and wigs. Makes sense. Musical director, the person responsible for teaching music to actors and pit orchestra, directs the orchestra. So the musical director is only for musical productions, obviously. And then once the show actually starts, they're in the orchestra pit with the orchestra, and they're the ones in charge of them. A principal is an actor with a speaking part. So if you are on stage and you're talking, you're one of the principals. The producer is the person responsible for financing and supervising the production, so they make sure all the money things go correctly. So the producer is the one who gets the money in the first place, right? The prompter is the person who follows the play by the book and gives the actors the line when they forget. So you might have the prompter over in the wings, who whispers it to the actor if they forget their line. The prop mistress or the prop master is the person in charge of all the props and the prop table. Do not mess with the prop master because they will end you if you do something wrong with the props. The Scenic Designer is the person who translates scenes from storyboards and concepts to the stage. So they take the first ideas from the script and turn it into a reality, whatever stages we need for the show. The sound operator is the crew member who works on the soundboard or the mixing console. So the A2 assists the sound operator. They're the ones who are on the soundboard. Stage manager, the person responsible for running the whole show. They're the ones who are often backstage and making sure everything is running. They're on the mic telling the light operator, the sound operator exactly when their cues are, things like that. They often tell the call boy and call girl to go get the actors. A stagehand is a person who works backstage or behind the scenes, also known as a stage crew. So a lot of different jobs on this list would qualify as a stagehand. The troupe is a theater company formed by a group of actors. So you guys are forming the Catoctin Theater Troupe for the year. And the understudy or the swing is an actor who learns several roles to substitute in case an actor or dancer is unable to perform. So they would learn several different roles moderately well in case somebody gets sick or is injured and they have to take over at the last minute. So those are our 25 terms for this week. As you might have realized, a lot of these terms are things you already know. So you're not going to have to worry about learning all 25 for the first time. A lot of these you're going to be very familiar with. What your job should be is looking over these lists and finding the ones you don't know already and starting to work on those, starting to learn those. Okay, so go through the list again, make sure that you take special note of the ones that are new to you and write those down somewhere so you can study those and have those ready to go for your next quiz. All right, guys, I'll see you back at the Google Meet.